Be me, 29, single, living in Austin, working as a marketing manager at a tech startup where everyone calls themselves allies, but gossips behind each other's backs. My apartment looks exactly how people expect mine to look. Minimalist decor, succulents on every windowsill. Feminist quote prints like, "The future is female," and "No man needed." I tell people I'm not anti-men, just pro-women, but if I'm being honest, I don't remember the last time I gave a man the benefit of the doubt. It started way earlier than I realized. My mom raised me alone after my dad left when I was 7. I barely remember him. What I do remember is my mom crying at the kitchen table, holding unpaid bills, muttering, "Men always leave when it gets hard." She never dated again. Said she didn't trust men, called them selfish, weak, unreliable. I heard that so many times growing up that it stopped sounding like an opinion and more like a fact of life. When I hit high school, I saw the same story in other women around me. Friends crying over boyfriend who cheated, teachers warning us not to settle, older cousins getting divorced. Every example just seemed to confirm it. In college, I found feminism. Or more like, it found me. I took gender studies electives and started feeling like I'd been given a vocabulary for everything wrong I'd seen. Suddenly, it all made sense. Patriarchy, emotional labor, societal conditioning. It became a lens for everything. Every argument, every breakup, every disappointment with men. I could trace it back to that one structure. By my mid-20s, I was deep in it. I'd built an online persona around calling out sexism and male privilege. I wrote posts about workplace inequality, called out casual misogyny, and ranted about man babies on Twitter. The attention felt good, validation mixed with outrage. I didn't even need to think twice about it anymore. Men were the problem, always. Most of my friends were the same. Erin, who works in HR, talks like every guy she meets is a walking lawsuit. Tori, who calls every man emotionally stunted. Kayla, still recovering from a messy divorce, insists all men cheat, even the good ones. We have this unspoken bond built on mutual frustration. Every Friday night, we meet at the same wine bar and trade stories. Erin complains about her male co-workers. Kayla reads texts from her ex. I usually share some tweet or message from a random guy who said something stupid. We all laugh, nod, and reassure each other we're right. So when I posted another thread online, this one about how women are expected to do all the emotional work in relationships, it was nothing new. I wrote it during lunch, half out of boredom, half out of habit. It got traction fast. Retweets, likes, comments. Then one reply stood out. "Try being kind to a man for once. You might be shocked how decent some are if you stop treating us like enemies." I saw red. I fired back. Not my job to soothe fragile egos. The tweet blew up. People took sides. Some agreed with me, but a lot of men mocked it. Typical feminist. Angry for no reason. You've probably never smiled at a man in your life. Normally, I would have ignored them, but for some reason, that day, I didn't. Maybe it was how confidently they said it, like they actually believed kindness could change something. It irritated me how smug it sounded, but it also stuck in my head. That night at wine night, I brought it up, mostly to get my friends riled up. I told them about the replies and joked, what if I did it? What if I tried being nice to men for a week, just to prove how delusional they are? Erin snorted. They'd just think you're flirting. Tori said, Men don't understand kindness unless there's a reward. Kayla grinned. Make it a thread. Call it the week I lowered my standards. We all laughed. I didn't admit it, but part of me was curious. I'd never tried interacting with men without that defensive filter on. Every time I did, it was with suspicion, expecting them to disappoint me. So I decided to do it. 1 week. No sarcasm, no snide remarks, no eye-rolling, just normal politeness. Say thank you, be civil, treat them the way I'd treat women. I told myself I'd document it, not for empathy, but for evidence. If I was right, I'd have a new viral post about how even nice guys fail basic decency. If I was wrong, well, I didn't think that was even a possibility. That Sunday night, I made a note on my phone. Kindness Week, observations. I was sure by Friday I'd have screenshots, receipts, and a smug caption ready to go. I didn't expect what actually happened. When I said I'd try being nice to men for a week, it was half a joke. But when I woke up Monday morning, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I sat on my couch with my laptop and made a plan. Literally, a note titled Kindness Week, Hypothesis plus Observations. Old habits die hard. I wanted it to feel like an experiment, not something emotional. Hypothesis. Men mistake kindness for interest. They'll act entitled, cross boundaries, or turn it into flirting. Goal. Prove that even basic politeness is wasted effort. I wrote down a few rules. Be polite, smile, use neutral tone. Don't argue or correct them unless it's necessary. Keep personal space, but respond when spoken to. Observe patterns. Who flirts, who acts smug, who tries to take advantage. I thought it'd take about 2 days before I'd be rolling my eyes and writing "told you so" tweets. Day 1. The barista. There's this coffee shop near my apartment. I've gone there for over a year. I always order online, pick up, and leave. I never make small talk because the guys behind the counter are usually chatty, and chatty equals annoying. That morning, I walked in, ordered at the counter, and forced myself to smile. Hi, could I get an oat milk latte, please? The barista, maybe mid-20s, dark hair, name tag said Dylan, smiled back and said, "Sure thing." Good choice. You always get oat milk, right? I blinked. You remember that? He nodded. You come in a lot. Kinda hard to forget. Hope your week's going well. I mumbled, yeah, thanked him, and waited. When he handed me the cup, he said, "Have a good morning, Ava." He'd remembered my name from the order app. That shouldn't have meant anything, but it weirdly did. Walking out, I felt stupidly self-conscious, like I'd accidentally flirted just by smiling. Then I realized that's how guarded I'd become. One polite sentence, and I was already questioning motives. I wrote in my phone, Day 1. Barista remembered my name. Probably customer service training, not actual interest. Still, weirdly pleasant. Day 2. Work the office is an open layout nightmare. Usually I keep headphones on all day to avoid small talk, but part of the experiment was actually acknowledging people. I complimented Tyler, one of our designers, on his presentation. Just said, "Hey, nice job on the client pitch. Your slides looked great." He looked genuinely surprised. "Thanks, Ava." "You did great with the copy too." I laughed awkwardly. "You actually read it?" "Of course." It made the visuals flow better. Later that afternoon, my PowerPoint froze before a meeting. Tyler noticed me panicking, walked over, and fixed it in 2 minutes, then went back to a desk like it was nothing. No jokes, no mansplaining, no "you owe me coffee" comment. That night, I wrote, Tyler helped fix presentation. No creepiness, no superiority, just decent. Why does that feel off? Day 3. Lunch with Ryan Ryans, an old friend from college. We used to hang out, but I drifted away after he told me I could be a bit intense online. Normally, that would have been a deal breaker. I cut people off for less. He texted midweek. "Haven't seen you in forever." Lunch this week. Usually, I'd ignore or say I'm too busy. But for the experiment, I said yes. We met at this small taco place near work. I expected awkwardness, but he was easy, same as always. He asked how work was, told me about his new job, laughed at the dumb startup memes I showed him. When the bill came, he paid without making it weird. Just said, "Next one's on you." As we walked out, he said, "It's nice to see you not on Twitter." I rolled my eyes, but smiled. "Yeah, well, real life's quieter." He grinned. "You should try it more often." That one stuck with me longer than I expected. Day 4. Gym plus grocery store. The gym was where I expected the experiment to fail. Men, sweat, mirrors, you know the type. Except nothing happened. I smiled politely at the guy wiping down a machine next to me. He nodded and went back to his set. Another guy offered to re-rack weights for me when I was struggling and didn't even linger afterward. At the grocery store later that night, I dropped a can of tomatoes and some older guy helped pick it up. "You're good," he said, smiled, and walked off. No weird comment, no, "You're pretty when you're clumsy." Just human decency. I actually caught myself smiling while checking out. I hadn't realized how tense I usually was in public, always bracing for something that didn't happen. By Friday, I had more positive notes than negative ones. It was throwing me off. I kept rereading them, trying to find something I'd missed, some hidden layer of male entitlement. But there wasn't one. I wrote the tweet half-jokingly. Day 5 of being nice to men. No harassment, no mansplaining, no unsolicited photos. Either they've evolved or I've glitched the matrix. It got hundreds of comments. Women mostly replied, "Give it time." Men wrote, "Maybe we were always decent. You just never looked." I didn't reply, but I read every single one. That night, I sat on my couch, scrolling through my DMs, and for the first time in a long time, none of them were gross. Just normal messages from men saying things like, "Thanks for the fairness," or "It's nice to see a woman give us a chance." It made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't explain. Not because they were creepy, because they were kind. Part of me wanted to write it off as coincidence. Another part, the quiet one, wondered if I'd been filtering the world through bitterness for so long that I stopped seeing people as people. I didn't say that out loud, of course, not yet. To everyone else, it was just a dumb online experiment. But something about it already didn't feel like a joke anymore. By the weekend, I had a whole note page on my phone labeled Kindness Week Results, and still nothing that made men look bad. Every example I'd written down was neutral or positive. When I met the girls Saturday afternoon, I expected some sympathy. We picked a new spot this time, a trendy brunch place called Pollen. It had metal chairs, too loud music, and those tiny glasses that pass for cocktails in Austin. Everyone there was taking photos of their food. Erin waved me over. "There she is, the data collector herself," she said, smirking. Tori grinned. "So, did any of them slip up yet?" I slid into the seat and shrugged. "Honestly? Number. They've all been decent." Kayla made a face. "Like actually decent or pretending?" "I don't know. I thought I'd have screenshots by now. They're polite, friendly, helpful. It's weird," Erin leaned in. "You just haven't seen their true colors. Guys always break character eventually." Tori laughed. "Exactly. It's impossible for them to stay decent when they think they're not being watched." Kayla poked her straw around her drink. "Okay, what if you made one show it? Like, test the theory. Push a little?" I frowned. "Push how?" "I don't know. Spill something, mess up. Do something that inconveniences them," Kayla said. "See how they react when you're not easy to deal with." Erin nodded. "Yeah. Kindness is easy when things are smooth. Try giving them a reason to be annoyed." They were serious. I laughed it off at first. "So now I'm baiting men. Tori smirked. Call it research, real data. Erin lifted her glass. Exactly. Stress test the patriarchy. I pretended to think about it, but the idea stuck. At work, I'd just been assigned to collaborate with Mark Ellis on a new marketing campaign. He was the senior product lead, mid-30s maybe, calm, competent, polite in that detached way. He never joined the feminist discussions in our Slack channels, and once, I swear, rolled his eyes during a DEI presentation. He seemed like the type who'd say, I treat everyone equally, and think that solved everything. If anyone would show his real side, it would be him. We met Tuesday morning in one of the smaller glass conference rooms. He was already there when I walked in, laptop open, a few notes printed. Hey Ava, he said, standing. Ready to get started? Yeah, I said, setting my coffee down. He gestured to a chair. I read through your proposal last night. You've got a strong angle on the customer side. I paused mid-sip. You actually read the whole thing? He smiled. I read everything that affects my department. Makes my life easier. Oh, right. I tried to sound casual, but it threw me. Most guys in that position barely skim anything. We started working through ideas. Every time I spoke, he waited until I was finished before responding. When he disagreed, he just said, I see your point, but what if we tried this instead? No condescension, no fake patience. It was unnerving. Around noon, I remembered what Kayla had said at brunch. Test him. So when I stood up to refill my water, I made a clumsy turn, knocked the bottle, and watched it spill right across his notes and part of his laptop. Crap. I'm so sorry, I blurted, reaching for tissues. He jumped up too, calm as ever. It's okay, don't worry about it. It's literally all over your computer. He laughed lightly. It's just water. I've had worse. You should see what coffee does to these things. I froze for a second. He wasn't annoyed, not even a sigh. When I kept apologizing, he looked at me and said, You don't have to over-apologize, really. It happens. I waited for the tone change, the snide joke, anything. It didn't come. He wiped the table, tossed the paper towels, and opened his laptop again like nothing happened. Afterward, I typed a note in my phone under observations. Spilled water on male co-worker's desk. No irritation, no lecture, no women are clumsy comment. Calm, possibly sociopath. Investigate further. 2 days later, we were finalizing the campaign deck. He leaned over slightly to show me a slide on his laptop. I tweaked these visuals based on your copy. Mind checking if the tone still fits? The work was actually good. I hated that I had to admit it. I glanced at him. You know, it's weird. You're nicer to me than most guys I've worked with. He looked up. Is that a bad thing? I mean, I hesitated. You've seen my posts, right? You follow people from the company. You know I'm not exactly pro-men. He nodded. Yeah, I've read some. And you're still nice to me? He shrugged. Why wouldn't I be? That answer annoyed me more than if he'd been defensive. I said, I figured you'd hate me or at least think I'm full of crap. Mark smiled faintly. I don't hate you. You just haven't met enough normal guys, I blinked. That's... what? You think I just hang out with psychos? He chuckled. No, I think social media gives you a distorted view of people. It's easy to generalize when all you see are bad examples. You're seriously using the not all men argument right now? I said. He shook his head. No, I'm saying most of us don't tweet our decent moments. You notice the worst ones because they're loud. I opened my mouth to argue, but couldn't come up with anything. He went back to editing slides like the conversation hadn't rattled me. That weekend, I dropped a message in the group chat. Me. He didn't even flinch when I spilled water all over his stuff. Aaron. Classic manipulation. He's trying to look enlightened. Tori. That's nice guy strategy 101. They hide it behind manners. Kayla. Please, he's into you. They always are. Me. He wasn't flirting. It didn't feel like that. A typing bubble blinked for a few seconds, then disappeared. Kayla finally sent a line of red flag emojis. Aaron wrote, "You're starting to sound like one of them." No one replied after that. Final scene, the conversation. A few days later, I asked if they wanted to grab dinner. Kayla said sure. Tori added a thumbs up. Aaron didn't answer. We met at this small Thai place near downtown. Normally we'd spend the first 20 minutes complaining about work and men. That night, it was quiet. Everyone kept half an eye on their phones. I decided to just say it. "I think I finished the experiment," I said. Aaron looked up. And I don't think the problem's as simple as we thought. Tori frowned. Meaning? I mean, maybe we've been wrong about some of this. The guys I talked to weren't creepy or entitled. They were just normal, kind. Even Kayla laughed once. You got lucky for a week and suddenly you're rewriting gender studies? No, I stopped, trying to find the right words. What if we made a mistake thinking all men are dangerous? What if we've been seeing everything through that filter because it's easier than trusting anyone? Erin set her fork down. You sound naive. You know how many women get hurt because they give men a chance? I'm not saying ignore red flags, I said. I'm saying maybe not every guy is one. Tori crossed her arms. So what, we're the crazy ones now? I didn't say that. I just met people who didn't match the picture we keep painting. For a long second, nobody spoke. The air felt heavy. Not angry, just done. Kayla checked her phone and said, I've got an early morning. Aaron stood too. Me too. Tori grabbed her bag. Text us when you're back on Earth. They left without hugging. I sat there after they left, the check still in the middle of the table, condensation running down the glasses. The server passed twice before I even noticed. Part of me wanted to chase after them, tell them they'd misunderstood me. I wasn't switching sides. I still believed everything we'd said before. At least, most of it. Men still did awful things. I'd seen it, heard it, lived around it. I just couldn't shake how normal the last few weeks had felt. Maybe I'd just gotten lucky. Maybe it was a fluke group of decent guys who hadn't had the chance to show their real selves yet. Or maybe I'd been so sure of what I expected that I'd stopped noticing when someone didn't fit the pattern. I paid the bill, left the cash in the tray, and walked out into the parking lot. It was already dark, muggy air sticking to my hair. I scrolled through the group chat again on my phone. No new messages, just the last one from Erin. You're starting to sound like one of them. I typed something, I'm not, and deleted it before hitting send. On the drive home, I kept replaying Mark's voice in my head. You just haven't met enough normal guys. It annoyed me how calm he'd been when he said it, like he actually believed people could just be decent without proving a point. At my apartment, I tossed my bag down, opened my laptop, and scrolled through the Kindness Week notes. Half of it read like I was trying to win an argument with the internet. The rest looked like I was quietly trying to convince myself. I didn't delete the file right away this time. I just renamed it Week 1. I told myself it was only because the experiment wasn't finished yet. But deep down, I knew it was because I wasn't sure what I'd prove next.